My brother made me watch Attack on Titan. I'm not really too sure how to start this off since I'm used to the kaiju discussion videos, not really, I guess, like anime reviews, but hey, we're branching out, we're starting new things, and I have recorded this part after finishing the entire season. So a lot of the stuff in this was kind of recorded week by week by week because we watched every week on Tuesday we'd watch 4 episodes, except for 1 week where we watched 5, and we watched Attack on Titan. I really enjoy the show. We, again, finished the first season. Depending on, how stuff goes, we will be doing this for all the other subsequent seasons. And, yeah, my brother made me watch Attack on Titan. But the reason we are watching dubbed, not subbed, is because we are watching this with my father. My brother, my father, and I are all watching this together. And we actually watched Godzilla Minus One subbed, but, well, Dad was also a lot more familiar with Godzilla beforehand, so he kind of knew a lot of things beforehand. Again, he did see Minus One, and Minus One was also only available in Japanese with English subtitles at the time. Whereas with this, there was the English dub, and then there was the English sub, and my brother, who is in the series, decided that it would probably be a bit too much for, have Dad read through the whole series as well. I mean, he knows I've watched subbed anime before, so I could deal with it, but weren't really as thinking that Dad would enjoy watching the series with that. So that is why we are watching dubbed. How do you guys stand, dub versus sub? This is gonna be the start of the video. Dub versus sub. What are your guys' thoughts on that? I really like longer anime. Some of the anime I don't like how some anime are like only 25 or something episodes and then they're just done. I like longer stories where I can get invested in the characters. And Attack on Titan has delivered that, so I'm really enjoying this. I like that it's a lot longer, but I've also never really seen like a lot of like the big anime. I've never seen One Piece, never seen Bleach, never seen Dragon Ball. I've seen Naruto, but really the rest of the anime that I've actually watched, you can actually count on one hand. So this was a kind of a bit of an experience, and I actually avoided it for a while because I know they have a very intense, very passionate love for it. But my brother, we watched again week by week, and I really enjoyed the show. So after the first 4 episodes, I actually rolled around the idea of maybe I should make a video on this. My brother thought maybe it'd be a good thing to make, and well, here we are. So if you enjoy this, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe for more, comment your thoughts below, and by the time you guys will be seeing this, I will have finished the entire series. The way that this whole plan worked was I would be recording this in advance, keeping it in the bank, and then when it came time for me to go on vacation and actually finish Attack on Titan, because they're the 2 movies that my brother said our thing, we'd be watching those with our dad on vacation, I will have seen those and to post this after we finish that, so as to avoid spoilers. I know, sorry about a little bit of long-winded, complicated setup, but this thing was kind of a bit of a thing. And, well, I mean, let's get started. Even though I still have no idea what to start with. The actual, opening of the show itself, I really liked. As someone who really loves kaiju movies and just, giant monster stuff in general, the fear and, just the terror of the colossal titan just looking over the thing and just the destruction it caused. And then just absolutely just crash into the just banger of an opening. Just that energy, just amazing, just mood whiplash right there. Just, what a heck of a way to start it off. Amusingly, and honestly, I kind of don't know if I want to admit this, the first response I actually had to the whole thing, the whole series, just out loud verbally, was when the Ghost Titan was peeking over the wall and kicked in the gate. My first reaction was, where have I seen this before? Referring to Pacific Rim with the anti-kaiju wall, that if you see Pacific Rim didn't work when Mudavore smashed through it. Which actually kind of works doubly well because Aaron Yeager's name is Yeager, and that's the name of the giant robots in Pacific Rim. Hello there, Future Max is here. So, don't know if I mentioned this prior, but everything that has been recorded week by week, and so each section will be recorded after 4 episode watches and then recorded afterwards. So if the voice sounds different for different parts, that's why I'm going to try and blend the audio for things to make it flow a bit more smoothly, but the audio might sound weird for certain things. But as for our main man, Aaron himself, I like him. He's a fighter, he's got spirit, and, I mean, his typical protagonisty traits, but, I mean, again, typical protagonist stuff. It works for a reason. I like him. Something that kind of really stuck out to me in the first couple of episodes was that when the scout people are slacking and the blonde guy with the mustache mentions he would rather they be basically seen as freeloaders, and Aaron takes offense to this because he really looks up to them. And his response of it makes a lot of sense because it means there's no Titans to fight, that everyone is safe, which he hadn't really considered that before, and I really like that idea again, because there is no one who wants peace more than a soldier, because it means that their job is unnecessary. But the show gets across the idea of just horror and the devastation and the idea that war is just absolutely horrific very, very well. A lot of the devastation reminds me a lot of Godzilla 54. Just, maybe not have been inspired by it, but just like the destruction scale and scope. And a couple of scenes in particular just give me that same kind of vibe. And honestly, just evokes like the same feelings of dread in me. But I remember like my first question I asked my brother was, well, why don't they just live underground? Because, well, the Titans won't go underground. So why don't they just live underground? Even though I kind of mentioned, Aaron's protagonist, fits in those shapes, but the characters aren't just the cookie-cutter archetypes. They are, even for as brief as they're shown, they're multi-dimensional. Maybe not, super 3D, but like, at least, very, very well developed for as brief as they're on screen. And then we get like the freaking armored Titan. That guy looks awesome. Dad actually said that he thought it looked like Iron Man, which, yeah, I can see that. I can see that. It probably, maybe not this was the whole intention, but when Mikasa just punched Aaron after he was going on that like rant yelly thing and then just shoved the bread in his mouth, that amused me a lot more than I feel it should have. Did it amuse you guys? I don't know. The cut ahead when they're all learning how to join the military and all the recruits, that whole, the recruit grilling scene, I really like that. I feel like they kind of leaned into a bit of humor and I guess like a physical comedy with a lot of things, and at a bit of the expense of the characters, and I thought it was well done. You get to see all the characters who I'm presuming they're going to be, our main and side cast of characters, and just, I liked the drill sergeant nasty kind of guy. I liked him. He was entertaining. Especially since, like, the first actual true bit of humor we get in the series, at least, like, seemingly so far, is Sasha, Potato Girl. Absolutely love her. And just the adorable little blonde girl that gives her this bread and the water. She's cute. Very adorable. Bertold and Rhina. These guys kind of seem like the older brother of the older brothers of the whole group, being supportive, and the very just blunt, real way that they talk with Aaron and Armin. I got the names kind of mix me up sometimes. I really like that the others kind of all sort of like idolize the fact that they actually got to witness Titans, whereas the four of them have witnessed the destruction that they have, and they talk very bluntly, very really, and are, very like brotherly, I guess is again the right word for it. A lot of the motions that they have with the ODM gear, it kind of reminds me a lot like a Spider-Man, which I really like, because I haven't really seen many. I mean, grappling hooks are kind of a common thing in fiction, but this isn't like those ways Spider-Man web swings, or the way like grapplers work in other fiction. I really like this. It's really, really neat. Also, this is because I'm cursed with hearing this in my brain when I heard Mikasa say, "Where you go, I go." The first time I heard her say that was actually earlier on in the day. I'd been watching a mashup of Hololive's Gargura and Elizabeth Rose Bloodflame sing Skyfall by Adele, where they say that. And after Mikasa said that the first time, that just Gargura singing that echoed in my skull. And then it happened again. So if you haven't heard that mashup, you will forever be cursed by hearing that in your skull now. You're welcome. One thing that I'm glad they included, which I didn't think was necessary, but feels actually very necessary after they did it, was Aaron. I guess like forgiving isn't really the right word for the blonde guy who couldn't save his mother. Hannes, I think is what his name is. I didn't think it was like, at first I thought like, oh man, I'm innocent, but I'm glad that they showed it. That it really just continues to hammer home the nightmare status that they are living in. and that, you know, every little tiny thing is very important, especially humanizing a lot of the characters. Just immediately from Pixis' introduction, I really am enjoying this guy's presence. It's kind of like, almost like a bit of a snark, just unspoken snark that he has, and just gives off vibes of like Jean-Luc Picard, Professor X, Patrick Stewart. Just, please, am I the only one that sees that? It also is very good seeing another series where the protagonist or main character, I guess, he's not the best. He's not the most skilled with the ODM gear, the swords. He's just acts kind of like something lackluster. But his drive and his determination is that. But again, that isn't everything. And it's like a Naruto where he's driven, but he's not the best. And it's good seeing that. I don't like it when protagonists are just the best at everything, because plot BS reasons. Yeah, something that actually just really threw me off was just the very casual way characters are just game-ended. And yes, we do need to use words like that because YouTube doesn't like certain words. The algorithm punishes us otherwise. But just like the very casual way that characters are in Fight with Titans just ended, just unceremoniously, is kind of shocking, because a lot of times, even when kind of nameless characters are ended, in the moment, it's kind of a big thing. But here it's anyone can bite the dust. But honestly, that didn't shock me nearly as much as when Aaron got his leg chomped off. Though, I will say, when Armin got swallowed whole by the beard titan, the Santa Claus titan, I guess, I wasn't actually thinking he was going to get game ended, because all the other people who got eaten by titans, they got chomped down on. So you saw, you know, they're gone. Armin, he didn't. It was like, oh, that's different, so that sticks out to me. And lo and behold, Aaron actually saved the guy, you know, one freaking leg, you know. And what is grinding your face across like 18 building tops and slamming face first into a window? What is that? What are injuries? And then, you know, he just goes and just pulls out Armin, and then he gets chomped himself. Like, freaking heck, I thought he was the protagonist. Jeez, this is messed up. I will say, scenes like this are where crying should be reserved for. I feel that some of the characters have tried a bit too frequently, so, and it kind of takes away from scenes like this where it does really demand it. The flashback scene where it shows the younglings just reading that book, and the way that they describe mountains and tundras, it's kind of almost haunting, where you have that sort of like a innocent, unknowing description of things, but I'm not really sure what they mean by water that glows like fire. I'm not too sure what that means. If someone in the comments can say, like, that's what it is, what that means, I'm kind of confused on that. Also, we did watch this in the dub version, not the sub version. I probably will have explained somewhere why that was. Okay, I'm glad we finally got a name for the adorable blonde girl, Krista. Even in, like, the most dire of grim storylines, she's a little bit positive. You know, you need that little ray of sunshine in the grimness. Not sure if this is ever explained, but I felt it was a bit weird, like the Titans kind of almost avoided Armin after he got yanked out of the Beard Titan's throat, and they kind of mentioned he was slimy. So I almost wondering, like, did like the Titan's saliva make the other Titans like avoid him because they thought he already got eaten or something? I don't know. Like, smelled like one of them, I guess. I had a feeling going in and seeing just the characters getting ended as much as they did that it was going to be a brutal show. But Mikas's backstory is just freaking 6 levels above. Just, even as a youngling, Aaron was just absolutely just savage. Like, actually just kind of base. I really like this guy. And that is actually a fairly good explanation, just, you know, nice and simple about why she is, like, as loyal to him, which I thought, oh, she got a crush on him. No, it's way more than that. And I also like the little detailed origin of the scarf. Because she had that. I noticed, like, why does she have the scarf? And I like that they explain it. Speaking actually of the small details, the running out of gas in those fuel tank things. Realism isn't so much the right word, but more is establishing rules for how things operate. Just in these little ways that it creates a smaller conflict in a greater conflict that just makes the characters need to think and do things that you wouldn't expect to do. I like this. I think that it's making it a little bit more tense. That, and also that it's just not one singular character going in and just bulldozing all the problems and solving everything. It is a group collective effort that without each of them, it just wouldn't work. But all that to say, Mikasa is freaking hardcore. She is absolutely great to watch, albeit in a kind of a terrifying, stomach-churning way, white-knuckling through pain. And one thing that really did kind of hit me differently is from her was living if only to keep the memories of someone you care about alive. That is something I painfully can actually relate to. And then there's that immediate, just heartfelt moment getting entirely undone by Titan Giga Chad just freaking, what was it, just like right crossing that other Titan in the face? And that line was chilling. Humanity's rage. Yeah, I can see that. Was a little bit surprised to actually see that they have musket technology, but it makes sense, they have cannons, so muskets are just basically just smaller cannons. I like that they're not super effective, and they're literally just used as blinding things, like literally just glorified flashbangs to a degree. That the figuring things out and just coming up with just inventive, creative solutions, and even then the solutions don't actually work correctly, and they just gotta fly by the seat of their pants after things kind of get foobarred. Armin really is, slotting into his role as a Team Big Brain, Mikasa as the absolute skill master #1, and honestly, some of these fights are pretty glorious. Just freaking crank up the Sabaton, doesn't really matter what song, that stuff goes hard. But who is Giga Chad Titan? Surprise, it's Eren, which, honestly, the humanity's rage kind of makes sense. That math checks out. But it is a bit ironic, he has literally become the very thing he sought to destroy. And this confirms a joke I actually said to my brother at the start of this thing, is so the Titans are just meat mechs. They're literally meat mechs. They're the literal meat mechs. Just purely on introduction, this Levi guy, foul temper, but actually a very deeply compassionate person. Though the mood whiplash sets in with that belly of the Titan scene, that is going to haunt me. Future Max is cutting in here. It did. Now, Eren coming out of the Titan with just no memories, no idea what happened, smart, because honestly, that Titan kind of could just fix, not all the problems, but I mean, it could really do a lot of things, and again, it adds interesting things of what the frick is actually going on. I like that just, you have no idea what's going on, they have no idea what's going on, and you're both just equally as clueless. But frickin' Mikasa's got balls. All the soldiers wanted to absolutely just axe Eren, and she's gonna fight all of them. Though, they were just going to just wax him anyway, so. Thankfully, Pixis comes in and just absolutely Giga Chad saves the day. But every time that a question does get answered, it just adds like 4 to 5 more of them. It's a question mystery hydra, you could say. Humanity requiring an enemy greater than itself to unite. Smart words, but honestly sound a lot more philosophical than actually in practice. Humanity kind of really loves fighting. There's something I do appreciate about when nameless characters just get absolutely game-ended. After the fact, the high adrenaline fight scenes, they do still treat them as though they were, again, actual named characters. They give the game endings weight. That it's not just, oh, they're in it for shock value. Like, no, they actually take time and show these were people. They were the heroes of their own story. And we may not know them, but they all mattered. It was really cool seeing that when Eren transformed for the first time knowingly, he just went berserker mode. And please tell me I'm not a horrible person for kind of finding this a little bit funny, but just the instantly going to just deck the building Mikasa was on, aiming for her. Like, it shouldn't have amused me, but it kind of did. Because again, none of them have any idea what they're doing. They're just making this up as they go. It also actually really does work well because everyone has to constantly be thinking on their feet. Maybe they will do something and figure out a way to unfoobar things, but at the same time, who's not gonna survive in the process? They might, think fast and think on their feet, but not everyone's gonna be there when they actually figure it out at the end. And it always keeps you guessing who is gonna survive. Especially since when those problems come up, they elaborate and actually just add more stuff for the plot to go over, which I look forward to figuring out a lot of those things. May or may not have been intentional, but I wonder if there was a bit of the symbolism of Atlas when Eren was carrying the giant boulder. It was a really good plan, but when he was carrying that giant boulder, it kind of reminded me of Atlas from Greek mythology, where he's holding up the mountains. Levi has already stolen first place as my favorite character. Mikasa is great, but just Levi. Alright, so new opening. Not really sure how I feel about this new opening. It doesn't quite punch as hard as the past one. I also just now realized Levi is voiced by Matt Mercer, the same guy who voices Jotaro Kujo from JoJo. That explains a great deal of things. After the really good intense adrenaline battle of all the Titans, I actually liked this sort of quiet courtroom episode because it's a good juxtaposition of, the savagery out there and the, well, humanity still squabbles. Humanity is are we really that much different? The enemies out there, the enemies in here, how different are they? As well as, again, adding on a new sort of conflict for the characters to deal with. But I feel like Eren could have probably broken out at any time, since, again, he has, the Titan thing, but again, he doesn't know how to control it, and the whole point is, he wants to convince them he's not a threat, so, yeah, I don't know what I'm saying. Also, just unrelated, related thing, music people. These guys, frickin' their job goes unnoticed by a lot of people, absolutely amazing. These guys deserve a lot of credit. Music fits perfect. Just unsung heroes. This Erwin guy, I'm liking him. Very base Chad. I also kind of found Mikasa's just shocked and rage faces to be a little bit more amusing than I feel was intended. Maybe because of how exaggerated they were. But Levi just once again steals the absolute show with his kind of just brutal beatdown and just a verbal onslaught. Beating down Eren as he verbally just rips a new one on the MPs and just everyone else, where, yeah, Eren's this big bad Titan thing, but do you think you really could actually be the one to end him yourself? Though, on the topic of Erwin, not so sure how I feel about, Eren, Armin, Erwin, the names kind of getting a little bit mixy-uppy. You have no idea how many times when recording previous installments of this, I got those names mixed up for Eren and Armin and had to edit them out. Not fun. The scientist lady, whatever her name is, she kind of weirds me out. She's crazy. So the Titans are sun-powered. Frickin' oversized hippies. Okay, Hanji's the scientist lady's name. Yeah, she's frickin' crazy. And I am very much enjoying her presence on screen. Though I wasn't expecting there to be Titan assassins. I mean, yeah, all the guys are trained to, wipe out Titans, but, they had captured ones to study. Interesting. The plot thickens. Jean is starting to grow on me more and more as time passes. He's driven because he knows he is afraid. Courage is not the absence of fear, it is confronting something despite the fear. And as much as he does sound like a dick about things, he does have a point. Oh, they keep mentioning Marco. Why do I feel that is going to be very important coming in the future? Oh boy. Female Titan. She's seemingly smart and scary. Very dangerous combination. And apparently can summon Titans. Not good. Please tell me I'm not the only one that has noticed that Armin and Krista look really similar. Again, it's still really fun watching just no one knows what's going on. We don't know what's going on. We're just along for the ride and just seeing what happens. The giant forest fight, that was actually pretty interesting. And, I mean, my main question is, why is there this giant forest? And it's like very, very circular, and there's the open field, and there's these just giant trees. Usually a forest kind of gradually goes. There's what curated this circle disc of trees. But yeah, Eren, it is good to see that Eren really does have a hard time keeping a lid on things, that he doesn't like seeing people get ended pointlessly, or at least what he sees as being pointlessly. But it is reassuring that Levi just says, do what your conscience thinks is the right thing to do. Do what you believe is right, even if it, does contradict the orders. What you think is right, only you can decide. Sort of like the little flashback Titan testing, I guess is the way to call it, and just to figure out what makes him tick. It is basically just glorified exposition dumping, but it's done in these really clever ways that it gives you a little bit more information. It intercuts into, fights, but not in ways that feel invasive, that feel intrusive. They explain, sort of things, like the spoon. Like, the spoon just kind of actually made me laugh for reasons of, on the main channel, we do a lot of shiny hunting Pokemon, and frequently my chat says I am spoon-fed. So seeing, a spoon actually be plot relevant to figuring things out was, I don't know, it got a chuckle out of me. Which it kind of actually compounded the very heartwarming apology that Levi's squad made with, biting their hands, realizing that actually really freaking hurt. But then there's the freaking ambush scene on the female Titan. That was amazing. Just the freaking, what even are those things? Spiked cable spear cannons? That freaking just brutal. I mean, especially, just the fear in her eyes. When something like that's terrified, the Curlin's don't hits the wind turbine. Future Maxis once again. Neat little fact. Dad actually kind of figured out who the female Titan was at about this point. I still hadn't. I was observant about other things, just not those. Slowly things are starting to, not really fit together, but just more pieces of the puzzle are just becoming visible. At the same time, it's also asking some pretty heavy moral questions, yes, they did figure out, or at least somewhat stop the female Titan, but at what cost? They had to keep secrets from their subordinates, and it led to many of them being ended. Was it the right thing to do? And they do kind of give a bit of a definitive answer on it, but at the same time, also kind of not really, and they leave it a bit up to you. Though the hardening power, I'll be honest, I really don't like this. At least just from what we know now, I don't like it. The armor Titans thing was kind of, armor, and it kind of, especially the way that it looks like ice hardening. I guess if it looked like bone, maybe it would be a bit better, but just looks like ice. But it kind of feels like it's just taking away some of the uniqueness from the armor Titan, in that this other Titan can now, I don't know, do similar things as the armor Titan, and the armor Titan's not really unique again. It ain't really unique. It goes on the phrase in so many ways. But again, we also don't really know all about the Titans yet, but especially with the immunity to blades, it kind of feels like they're pulling anti-weakness stuff out of the butt. But honestly, gotta give it to Levi. Dude's got freaking balls. Smack talking the female Titan, even though she is restrained when it's, still a Titan. But that scream call, that I actually do like, because that actually kind of foreshadowed with the somewhat leading other Titans to attack things, at least the way it's kind of implied. That I like. That is well done. And that especially freaked me out because Sasha got freaked out in story. When the comedy relief character is freaking out, stuff's gonna go down. That was actually just really just disturbing that the female Titan called in all those Titans to just start eating her. That's, I don't know. That's just disturbing right there. But it seems she got out because honestly, when Ervin, I legitimately didn't even consider her using ODM gear to escape, which shows he's literally playing 40 chess when playing checkers. And it was actually really comforting seeing heartwarming that Levi's main concern actually was Aaron. Again, names too similar. Problem. But them catching up to her again and just absolutely just ripping and tearing into her. Stuff was going too good, and then, the eye. See, again, focusing all the healing on just, healing the eye and then just chomping that one guy in half. That's brutal. But I mean, sending Aaron off the deep end and just going full out lashing out mode. Yeah, it's gonna seem like it was, it was an awesome, epic fight time, but I mean, he's struggling and she's literally unarmed and one-eyed. When she heals up, it's not even gonna be a fight. But he doesn't even know it yet, and that's how you do really good dramatic irony. You can see the problem coming, and they don't. Though again, going back to the hardening thing, that just absolute armored up left cross to Aaron's face, that is exactly what I was worried about when it came to the armor hardening at will nonsense. Where it's just, oh, I have this weak point. Oh, I can harden my body so that your swords do absolutely nothing. I can increase my striking power and just blow apart your entire face. Oh, you can't punch me because my armor. I don't like that. You make a weakness and then you give a way of just completely mitigating that. When you do something like that, I am hoping they explain it later on. But for something like that, you're gonna need one heck of an explanation that doesn't feel like a butt pull. But, I mean, freaking that, decapitation tree cutter chop, whatever that was. Man, that was brutal. As much as I don't like some of the implications for it, it also does lead to, some pretty good spectacle on things. But again, they can leave it. The hyperextending jaw thing, that kind of weirds me out. I mean, I don't know. It's like the snakes where their jaws open way too wide to be naturally useful. I mean, that's creepy. That's just creep factor. But yeah, when Aaron got eaten this time, I actually was not at all worried that he was gonna be game ended, because it was like, we've seen it before. They don't chew him. He's gonna be fine. So that's kind of one thing I kind of hate about analysis of things, is when you can tell when stuff is kind of gonna happen that way. But I mean, it was still freaking creepy. And then Mikasa just going absolutely freaking turbo ballistic was really, really good. And then just Levi is just a buzzsawing up her arm, and absolute just brutal is brutal is the only word I can think of, but I feel like I'm overusing that word. It's just top-notch animation. What are these guys? Wit Studios. Honestly, I'd like to see if they could do something for Godzilla. I think they'd be good at that, because they got those destruction scenes really nailed down. Though after the female Titan's beaten, does make me wonder, why is she crying? And also makes me wonder, what is with this series and everybody crying? But even after all of that, adrenaline pumping action spectacle, the show just rips your guts out, because it shows the families, hearing that the loved ones are going to be coming back after the scouting expedition. And I'm pretty sure the families we get to see are the families of those who didn't make it back. The show it's not just all action and spectacle with adrenaline. It's genuine heart, and I do appreciate these quiet moments where it gives a lot more weight to the overall story, and they really don't feel out of place. A lot like actually the following scene, where it just shows the duality of Eren, where we get that reversal of the opening part where Eren looked up to the scouts when he was a lot younger and wanted to be like them, and we saw them and they were broken, they were shattered, and now Eren's the one just broken and shattered by what he is seeing, and there's younglings in the crowd that want to be just like them, and it just breaks him even harder. I don't know, it seemed a bit odd, at least at first, that we got an episode with Annie, but I mean, it makes sense, we kind of need something to focus on the military police, because we haven't really seen anything in the interior yet. They talked up the MPs so much, and what the frick are they? Already, I actually really do like this guy Marlowe, and it's not just because his English dub VA is the same guy who does the dub for Rando Yaguchi and Shin Godzilla, but because the genuine nobility that the guy has. It actually is kind of the same thing as Rando Yaguchi. I mean, typecasting exists, but if you're good at the role, you're good at the role. I like Danny's comment actually specifically about the just wanting to be ordinary, because I mean, we all have, dreams of grandeur and, everything like that, but there is a beauty in just simplicity. Just it's a more philosophical and getting deep show than you'd actually think. Or I'm just looking into things and it's not actually that deep. But things started feeling a lot off, though, because just that chilling calm she has when Armin's talking to her after asking her for help. Though I do agree with his line about, labeling people, it does dehumanize them. Good or bad people, they're just ones that are, convenient as a means to an end. Alright, so this was something that I think I mentioned a little bit earlier, but like the tunnels, alright? One of the first things I said to my brother is, why don't they just like live underground or make tunnels? The fact that they had unfinished cities in a tunnel thing that they were building and abandoned, I like this. They were thinking ahead. They knew people were going to be asking that. It was like, okay, here's an explanation for things. But why was the city not finished? That's now my question. So, okay, there is a city. Why was it not finished? But yeah, I thought some BS was at play during Annie's melodramatic Fear of the Dark speech. Because, well, one, it's abandoned tunnels and that there's no animal, there's no nothing down there. And second, we've seen her, kick the stuffing out of Rhina. And I knew it, Marco was going to be important. She yoinked his gear. So what the frick happened to him? And then we get the reveal she was the female Titan. Dad actually figured that out earlier because her hair was actually somewhat similar to it. And I didn't. I picked up on stuff like, why are there no underground tunnels? And I couldn't pick up the most flipping obvious thing. I never said I was good at observation. But it really does put that comment of hers of wanting to be an ordinary girl a lot more in a bit of a darker perspective. Which, I now feel really conflicted about saying this. And now I feel really conflicted about saying this because I actually thought she was kinda hot. What, I like blondes and women who can snap me in half like a toothpick. Don't judge me. So it seems like Erin's not unique after all. Like this I'm okay with, like the not uniqueness being a thing where it's like, okay, there's other humans that can turn to Titans or like Titans that can turn into humans. I don't know which way it goes. But like so long as like the abilities of them are not like copied, I guess. But it does actually explain why back in the forest, the female Titan had like, well, Annie, I guess, had like those fighting skills where like Annie was like already an adept fighter. And also, actually, why she was able to so easily counter ODM gear, because, like, she knew what they were going to do before they were going to do it. And once again, like, they revisit the classic monster movie destruction playbook and scenes, and it is glorious. Horrifying, but glorious. Like, they keep saying that she's, like, a cornered animal and that she's, like, afraid. But, like, her attacking seems to be pretty controlled and pretty calculated. Not sure why the MP boss guy was being a little bit of an unnecessary thick idiot. Though it was good that, Ervin, God, those names, and Levi just absolutely amazing as usual. And yeah, I mean, they had to nerf him. His leg kind of got a little bit hurt and he can't actually be fighting. So I like that they kind of sidelined him in a way that makes sense. They also try to repeat trapping Annie with the spike javelin, spear, cannon, whatever the frick things, and it doesn't work again. But I like that. Like, the freaking cage net thing, that's brutal, but like really neat. I don't think I'll ever get used to that guttural, just demonic voice, just mod, whatever the heck that Eren has when he's speaking in like a thinking in Titan form. If I can be like a voice mod for this mic, I kind of want to get that. When the Annie-Eren fight just resumes, it's savage, it's horrifying, but just like horrifying in like a beautifully executed way where you see the destruction and the savagery on full display. But it was like, you realize, like, freaking Annie was just, like, styling on, like, all the ODM users before. Which just, like, that's just, like, a next level, just effery right there. The only time, like, in the entire fight that I actually like, got the feeling she was cornered and scared and terrified was actually at the end when Aaron was just jumping after her just on freaking fire with one of his arms and one of his legs missing, and she was running towards the wall and trying to just climb. And just again, you see just the fear on her face, especially when because it just cuts her fingers off. And she did a lot of messed up stuff. A lot of people got ended because of her, but like at the same time, I don't know. Like I kind of feel bad when like she's gonna like get like, bitten in half by Aaron and like doesn't and then stops because like she starts crying again, crying things, and I guess maybe it kind of snaps him out of the kill rage, whereas like she is still human, I guess. Like, are they Titan first, human second, or human first, Titan second? What's the way that thing goes? The jury's still out on that. But I like the fusing thing. Like what the frick was with the fusing thing? But then she, I guess, turns into like that like chrysalis thing. Not really sure what that is, and I really don't know why was she doing this? You know, she wanted to get back to her dad, I think, but I don't know. A lot of questions. All right. So, I didn't pick up on this until after. This is Future Max, just again, rewatching the things to get the pictures for the video. I did not freaking realize that the end of that fight was freaking 10 minutes before the end of the video. Not the video, the end of the episode. That time flew like absolute crazy because it's all so good. You literally don't even notice it. The rocks on the wall, when they crumble away and just like reveal that like fleshy Titan face underneath, that legitimately sent chills up my spine. But yeah, it's like I don't even like want to say like, okay, the plot's getting good now, because like it's all been good. It's just like it just keeps ramping up and just doesn't stop. So that's just like kind of my thoughts like so far on season 1 of Attack on Titan. I mean, I'm enjoying the series. At some point, I actually will be, like, when we finish the whole series, I'm going to be doing a rewatch of everything from square one, if, you know, I enjoy the series, but I feel like I'm going to enjoy it. It's a very smartly written series from what I can see, and I'm probably going to be revisiting it at some point in the future. You know, like a full rewatch of everything, like knowing everything, and you know, probably doing more videos like this on it. I'm enjoying it. Yeah. So far, I can't really give like a blank out of blank rating, because like it's just great. You know, and again, the you guys that are probably like stuck around as long have seen the show before, so you guys know like how great it is and everything. I'm looking forward to it. I really wonder what the frick is going on with those Titans inside the frickin' walls. So, the walls have Titans in them, but the Titans are trying to get through the walls. The walls are speaking Titanese. But yeah, I like the characters, I like the story, I really like the world and the setting. They do a great job setting everything up, and one thing that I feel is just supremely impressive. Nothing feels wasted. When I first started getting some of the footage for screenshots for things, I started watching at I forget what time I started watching it at, and I don't know, I think it was like episode 18 is what I ended off on for things, and it was like freaking 2 in the morning when I realized I should probably go to sleep, and I noticed, oh frick, it's 2 a.m. They watch real easily, and you just don't even notice where the time goes. So, thank you guys all for watching. If you haven't done so already, don't forget to subscribe for more. Comment your thoughts below on the video. By the time this video is going out, I will have actually finished the entire series, and I don't know if I mentioned this earlier on in the video, but the reason, I probably might actually edit this earlier on in the video as well, but the reason we are watching dubbed, not subbed, is because we are watching this with my father. My brother, my father, and I are all watching this together, and we actually watched Godzilla -1 subbed, but, well, Dad was also a lot more familiar with Godzilla beforehand, so he kind of, you know, knew a lot of things beforehand. He did see -1, and -1 was only available in Japanese with English subtitles at the time, whereas with this, there was the English dub, and then there was the English sub, and my brother, who is in the series, decided that it would probably be a bit too much prefer, have Dad read through the whole series as well. I mean, he knows I've watched subbed anime before, so I could deal with it, but weren't really as thinking that Dad would enjoy watching the series with that. So that is why we are watching dubbed. How do you guys stand, dub versus sub? This is gonna be the start of the video. Dub versus sub. What are your guys' thoughts on that? Again, by the time this is out, I will have seen the entire series, and I probably will do a full sub watch through and dub watch. Maybe that's a good comparison idea we can do in the future. Comparison dub versus sub. Who knows? Thank you all for tuning in. Again, it's been great to have you. I still have no idea how I'm doing these videos. Maybe the season 2 one and onwards is going to be completely different. I don't know. Again, like the characters in the show, I'm still figuring it out as we go. But I've been Max Allo. I will see you guys next time. I'm debating if I should do like our standard, Long Live the Kaiju King outro, or try to come up with a new one for like Attack on Titan theme, but I also don't really know Attack on Titan well enough to do that yet. I don't know. See you guys.